some closed doors, God. Understand now, God, why you had to have me in a timing season, God, because I had to work on my character. I had to work on some things, because if you start going on in progress, God's not going to put you on a platform if he cannot trust you. Impossible. Will not put you on a platform if he cannot trust you. It says one of them, verse 15 says, one of them, when he saw he was healed, came back praising God in a loud voice. Came back praising God in a loud voice. So we talk about the power of progress. The second thing I want to talk about is the power of the pause. Power of the pause. For you all who know me, they know I do a lot of public speaking. You know, I travel, I speak at conferences, I do all these things. I lead different meetings. And one of the things that they teach every person who's doing, who does public speaking is the power of the pause. You're saying, well, what does power of the pause mean? That means that you can say something really great and then you shut up. To give people time to process what you've said. Because the more you talk, you can kind of start getting in the ebbs and flows of kind of how the communication pattern takes, and it allows you to kind of tune out. But when you stop talking, people start looking up and say, wait, what's going on? It's maybe hard for y'all to believe, but I was a class clown growing up, right? I know, it's hard for y'all to believe. And I remember vividly on probably 1, 2, or probably 450 times that I was in class and the teacher was talking and I was talking too, right? And so the teacher was talking, I could hear the teacher talking, and I'd be talking to my friends, and we just shooting the breeze, blah, blah, and then the teacher would stop talking. And I'd be scared to turn around. I'm like, she's looking at me, bro, ain't she? Yeah, she's looking at you. So because that pause is a time where we realize that we can get quiet and really understand what God is saying and what God is doing in our life. The power of the pause makes people reflect. There's something to be said about just kind of taking some time and catching your breath and realizing, being reminded everything that God has done for you. In the Word of God, we heard it as well. We talk about the prodigal son. He took his inheritance and he squandered all of his inheritance, and he's in there eating from the husk from all the pigs. And the scripture says, when he came to himself, saying that, hey, my father has servants that are eating better than I'm eating right now. The power of the pause. When you just take a moment to reflect, okay, God, how did I get right here? God saying, just because your current destination, that does not change the destiny that I have for you. Just take some time and still have the power of the pause. See, those lepers, they were blessed by association. But your destiny is always going to come in a moment of separation. All of them had faith, but one of them had much faith. Many times people come to church, they come to God, they come to get what they need, and then you don't see them again. It's unfortunate. When your marriage was in shambles, we saw you. When time was tough, we see you. When you were believing for the car, the house, the man, the job, the dog, we saw you. But then when God comes through, then let me stop meddling in people's affairs today. It says only one returned. Only one. He took a pause and he said, he looked at his life and he saw that he was been healed. And realized that if it had not been for God on his side, if it had not been for the word that God had spoken into his life. And that's the thing that I want to tell someone today. It doesn't really matter to me where you are, in bounds, out of bounds. We all need to take some time where we just take a power of a pause and take a reflection on what God has done. If you really just sit there and think about what God has brought you through. I'm not saying that you don't have tasks or you don't have things ahead of you that are going to require a lot of hard work. That's not what I'm getting at today. What I'm talking about is the power of the pause and saying, God, thank you for what you have done in my life. I just want to take a moment to pause not to ask you for anything, but just to take a moment to say, thank you, God. I just want to take a moment because when I felt like I was going to lose my mind, now God, you sent your peace, and God, now I can breathe, God. And I'll just say, just think, I just want to take a second, God, and just sit here in your presence, God. The power of the pause. And the pause is good. It's great. But if it doesn't lead you to an action, then it's all for naught. Scripture tells us faith without works is dead. So there has to be an action. So the power of the pause is great. But that needs to lead you to the next action, which is the power of the pivot. The ability to change directions. The ability to say I was going one way, but God, you were calling me a different direction. God, I took a moment, God. I realized that I'm making progress, God, but I'm still struggling with certain things, God. Let me take a moment, God, to pause and see what you've been doing in my life. But God, once I see what you've been doing, God, let me turn towards you. The power of the pivot. All 10 were healed. All 10 made progress in their life. All 10 could see the healing. So they had to pause and say, yes, I am healed. But only one had the power of the pivot. To say, okay, if it had not been for you, the power of the pivot. It is one thing to know that you need to make a change, but it's another thing to do it. Verse 15 says, one of them, when he saw he was healed, came back praising God in a loud voice. Verse 16 says, he threw himself at Jesus' feet and thanked him, and he was a Samaritan. It says that one of them, when he saw him, he was healed, came back praising God in a loud voice. Your praise should be louder than your request. Your praise should be louder than your request. And I'm not knocking, because I know there's people who are very modest and they just say, well, God, I really need you to come through for me in a major way, God, and I'm trusting you. And I'm not knocking anyone who's modest, and then when God comes through, then they modestly, they praise him. But there's sometimes where people go through things in life that require a loud praise. There are times when people really understand what God has done for them, and it requires a loud praise. So don't judge me by the amount that how I praise, because first I have to pause, then I have to pivot, then I realize the magnitude of what God has done for me, and I have to let out a loud praise. So sometimes you just have to say, you know what, I need you to give me a moment. I'm sorry, can I have a time out right now, because I have to give God some glory, because if it had not been for him on my side, I don't know where I'd be. The power of the pause. The power of the pivot. I welcome you to join me. Your praise should always be louder than your request. Psalms 103:1 says, bless the Lord, all my soul, and all that is within me. Bless his holy name. Psalms 156 says, let everything that hath breath praise ye the Lord. Psalm 98:4 says, make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all the earth. Psalm 66:1. Make a joyful noise unto God, all you lands. Psalm 47:1. Oh, clap your hands, all you people. Shout unto God with a voice of triumph. Your praise should always be louder than your request. Always. Lisa, come down now. I'll be up here all day if you don't come up here. Your praise should be louder. So we talked about the power of progress. Talk about the power of pause. We talk about the power of pivots. And now we have to talk about the power of praise. And that's many times that when God comes through, that's the thing that he's waiting on right now. He's saying, I know that I've come through. I know that I made a way for you. And God is saying, he told him, where are the other 9? Did I not do it for them? And it says that he threw himself down at Jesus' feet. And I kept on reading that over and over again. with this. He said, read it again. I read it again. I don't get it. God, he threw himself at his feet. So we read again. I must be missing something. What did he say? He said, because when he made his initial request, he had to yell. But when he came back, he was at his feet. So my challenge to you is that when you do the power of progress, when you do the power of the pause, when you do the power of pivot, and when you have the power of praise, you should always get closer than the time when you left. And that's my goal. It's for us to get closer. To understand that God has a purpose and a plan for all of our lives. Said that he threw himself at Jesus' feet and thanked him. And he said, and he was a Samaritan. So it tells me that those who are like you, it's the unlikely ones. It's the ones who are really out of bounds is the one that the Lord likes to use. Pastor said this all the time, God doesn't call to qualify, he qualifies to call. I'm not knocking those out there, and I want you to go out there and get educated and get your doctorates, you do all those things are fine and dandy. But God has a special place for the unlikely ones. I would have expected the Jews to come back and say thank you. Because if they said that they mentioned that he was a Samaritan, it means that he was mixed with other people. So this foreigner came back. Why? Because he knew, God, you changed my life.